I believe it was adjourned about 7:10. It didn't go much past 7 o'clock. So I would say 7:10.
Okay. I will update that because I wasn't sure. I just made up the random number.
So you can approve the motion with the change.
So do I have a motion to approve the minutes with the change with the time when the meeting was adjourned?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay, fantastic. Let's move on to the bars. Olga, can you walk us through those?
Yeah, we only have two. One is just a maintenance bar for our operational fund. And another one, that's finally we received our lease assistance. So we have the award for 41,820 for the middle school and $106,028 for elementary component, which is 147,848 for the entire year. So that's where the increase coming from. So we finally will get our reimbursements.
Okay, that's great. Is there a motion to approve the both bars?
I move to approve the bars.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, so notice of open enrollment date change. I don't know, Joe, is that a topic for you or who's going to address that?
I thought
Yeah,
we.
that's me. So I was in contact with our ad, the legals, and they only have Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and Thursdays are their digital. And my question is, which is fine, my question is, do we want to post on 25th? Because 25th would be, I think it's Wednesday. Or we want to pick a different date. Because we can keep it 25th, but I wasn't
I
sure.
I can't remember off the top of my head how many times we have to post, Joe. Is it 3 or 4? Do you remember?
You guys decided on 6. You guys decided on
Okay.
27, 28, 29, and 25th, 27, and 29. And oh, sorry. 27, 28, 29. We cannot do 28. So we have to do either 25, 27, 29, or we can just pick a different one instead of 25th. So we can do 24th. That's up
I mean,
to
I
you.
don't really think it makes sense to do it. I guess I didn't think about the date. It said be like December 25th, meaning like on Christmas. I mean, my
Mhm.
suggestion would be we do it afterwards, but I open to what everyone else thinks.
We do it on the 26th. That will be on a digital format.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think digital is fine, but most people look at the RDR now online as well. So I think that's fine.
Okay.
So instead of 25th, we will just do 26 digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 26, 27, and 29.
Correct.
And then in January,
And in January, instead of 10, 11, and 12, we will do 8, 10, and 12.
okay.
That's fine. Do we need to vote on that?
I'm not sure.
So.
I mean,
8, 10, and 12.
okay, I don't necessarily think we need to vote on that. I don't know, Mike, what do you think? Do
No,
we
I
need
don't
to
think
vote on that?
no.
Okay. Okay, so then moving on to the next item, the governing council workshop, a date confirmation. I know at the last meeting we threw a date out there. Can someone refresh my memory? What did we say? I'm sure it was a great date. I just don't remember.
I don't.
The meeting.
It's not in the minute.
No, I don't think we did. I don't think we talked about a specific date.
Okay. Didn't we talk about how the way we like to do it is to have it, or have the meeting first, then do our retreat. And I thought we had discussed doing it like in the evening after our regularly scheduled board meeting. Did we have that discussion or did I make that up?
I know we had that discussion, but we also talked about that we would circulate dates and see if we could come up with some times that would work. I think that was in the minutes, right? I read that in the minutes.
Circulate potential dates and times for the workshop and draft an agenda for the
Right.
bridge.
Okay, got it. Okay, well then, since I guess I was supposed to do that, I apologize, guys. So why don't I do that this week and I will email that around and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, moving on to financial update.
Okay, so we spent year to date 889,384.21. If you were to look at the middle school spent 394,393.34 out of this, and elementary's 508,802.22. We're making progress on our SPED money. There's quite a bit of encumbrances happening. And what else? If you look at the second page, in November, you can see the breakdown. We spent 217,097.52, and our SEG 194,304.12. It will go down by about 10,000 because we finally got our release assistance, but we still overspending even with the lease assistant. We're still over our SEG.
Do you want to see those numbers in red? Or
No,
you already got it? Okay.
Right now we're at just around 90,000 in the black with 6 months, 7 months to go. That's for this year. We have carryover. That's not
Right. So
Okay.
typically, where are we at this point? Is that pretty normal to be?
we're
we're back.
facing more. We have 2 new teachers.
Mhm.
Coach has returned, so we've taken away that substitute.
Mm.
So that was to the tune of about $12,000 or $15,000.
Okay,
We have 2 new teachers that have dipped into that somewhat.
sure. Okay.
We'll come spring, we'll looking at changing some staffing,
Okay.
and there will be some changes, some turnover, I'm sure. From the
I mean, as it right now, unencumbered looks pretty good. If we can keep it unencumbered, that would be great. Yeah, our unencumbered is 479 currently, so it's not bad.
Yeah, so you're taking that plus the unencumbered
90.
is
Yeah.
that into it.
Yeah, okay.
So you're looking
So
at
compared to last
Yeah.
year,
it's
it's
still to be dispersed over the remaining month.
Sure.
Plus the what is it? The 194,000 a month is what we receive, plus the 475 split up over the remaining months. That will be fun. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah.
We also may want to look at amending the charter and maybe adding some more students.
Yeah.
Yassine, were you saying something?
Yeah, so I just want to compare this to this time last year, Joe, because I just want to make sure that, when we get into the spring, we don't reach the same place where we felt like we were financially squeezed. So in looking at where we're at now, based on what's unencumbered and then what is coming up, do you feel like our budget is in a pretty good place, or are there areas that we need to think about cutting back on spending?
Both. You're looking at it longitudinally. We're spending roughly 20,000 more than we're taking in
Right.
a month. But we have to factor in, we're gonna see some monies back in with lease reimbursement coming back into play. Well, our unencumbered still just shy of $500,000. So those are, we can forecast those over the next 7 or 8 months, through June 30th. But we have expenses this year that we didn't have last year.
So that the 140, whatever it was that money that we got because SEG, like with our final attendance and so forth, that were we expecting that money?
Yes,
We were, okay.
but we hadn't received it. We just received
Right.
award letters.
Okay.
This past, 2 weeks?
Mhm.
I had an
Yeah.
email this morning on it.
Okay.
It took them 4 months.
What's
4.
that?
We applied in
Right.
August.
Yeah.
So what
Right.
happens is we cost out all our expenses up to date. We will get reimbursed. They reimburse on a quarterly basis. And so what we paid out so far for lease, 10,000 a month for this building and about 6,000 for that building. We will recoup that
Sure.
based on the reimbursement. That goes back into our
Yeah.
budget, which is going to create less of a deficit.
Right.
Now you put that out over 6 months, it's probably 2 or 3,000. Well, I'm not doing the math right now, but maybe 4 or 5,000 a month. That pushes us in a better position.
Sure.
And then when we look at that over the course, our leases will cost us. Olga probably has this figure, but if we're gonna get 140,000 off of our leases, it's gonna cost us maybe 60,000 per lease instead of the 2.
Yeah, something like that. Mhm.
So that plays out at the end. I mean, we know we're getting that money. And so they take their time. And we have other funds that, what I'll propose is that when we start purchasing other things and doing things for the school, as we move forward towards the end of the year, is just not to draw it out of SEG, but to draw it out of other line items.
Yeah.
We have a construction, if we have a need, say we wanted to put in something that was going to benefit one building or another, we would pull that out of HB 33 or SB 9 funds, which doesn't come out of SCG. Those are separate. And so you may have a $50,000 expenditure that in the past, when we had 700,000 in carryover, we could just pull out of SCG. Now we're not going to do that. We're going to go directly to another source, pull that out. So that saves that 50,000 in SCG earmarked for the rest of the school year. So it's
So Joe, and part of the other expenses this year, is that having to do with the 2 new teachers and their level of licensure? And is that what you're referring to?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we're staff heavy, and we need to kind of look at things, and we're working on it. So
I know, but the directive from the board in the past has been that we invest in the classroom. So, I know that yes, we should absolutely have that conversation, especially as it's impacting the budget, but that's always been something that we've valued as a board.
no, absolutely. The programs we're trying to keep. It's just we've had some expenses this year, doubling up again for 2 months on a long-term.
Yeah.
That's $150 a day.
Right.
It was unexpected. Not saying it wasn't warranted, it was unexpected.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
adding a second, well, I think the art and the tech person, the STEM person, that's a wash because we did pay for one last year, and then we're paying for one now where we didn't have to because of the art program that we did, but we still have monies for the art program. So we actually took the direct receipt of those grant funds, and we just need to start doing that more. We may want to look at ancillary support services and getting direct funding for that rather than having them go through the district, because that's only that I think we're getting, what's the technical term? Screwed. Over.
Yeah.
So these are things we've never had to do in the past because we were flush. Now that we're not, and we'll see what this year's legislature brings us, the state
Yeah.
got a lot of money. We'll see if they dedicate it towards education. It's a 60-day session. We'll see what happens. That's why I'm not too worried. I think the unit value is going to go up significantly, or at least it needs to. And if it doesn't, then someone needs to answer that up in Santa Fe. But
Yeah.
I think we're going to make it there. And we'll make it through this year. And then as we proceed for next year's budget, we should have an opportunity to kind of look at that in perspective. It is what it is. And we're just,
Yeah.
but yeah, we don't want to skimp on in the classrooms. We're not, I can tell you
Yeah.
that. Like I said, we are staff heavy, which is a good thing. I'd rather have that than burning out our teachers doing things that they don't want to do.
Exactly.
And so from that standpoint, we'll take a hit and maybe, we'll look at cutting back on some other things that we have in the past not cut back on, and we'll look at that. But and then we have I don't want to cut out things like field trips and stuff like that, but we may have to regulate the amount. I know last year 8th grade went on 4 field trips, like $2,500 just for the buses along each one. So that was 10 grand. And they may get back to 2, and then be more judicious in how we, support those.
Is
But
PTO able to fund those?
they can if we request it. We're looking at it in a lot of different perspectives. Their function, I would rather carry some of that,
Sure.
because when you look at a field trip, there's several segments that they can pick up better suited for me. We can pick up travel, they can pick up food, they can pick up entrance fees or tickets or whatever. If the kids go to Popejoy and see an off-Broadway play, the tickets are so much easier to purchase through a direct
Right.
exchange of funds than having to do a purchase order, yada yada yada. So we would ask for stuff like that. I'd pay for the bus because it's easy just to write the PO. But
So
go ahead.
So what do we get? The district holds 2% of our
That's correct.
funds. And what are the services we receive from them? I thought some of those ancillary services were provided by
No,
the district with those funds.
they are provided by the district, but they receive for our SLPs, our OTs, our PTs, all of that. I like the arrangement we have right now where they handle all the employment aspects. They are employees of the district. It doesn't cost me to have benefits, salary plus benefits. That's what hurts us. A lot of our, and I'm not against it.
Right. Yeah.
But when you have 20 employees and 18 of them or 16 of them are taking benefits, you take their salary plus a third. If you have $100,000 salary, that employee is costing you $130,000.
Right.
And so having 6 or 7 more ancillary support services staff on our books, we wouldn't have money for
I
that.
see.
Even though we would get their FTE, it would cut us down to.
So we just
11.
contract with the district for those. Some
Right,
of those
because
services.
they receive, and they do all the billing and they do all of that stuff, through their services. So we can look at it.
Are any of them full-time here?
No, none of
No,
them are
so they
full-time.
are, so they go school to
They
school.
go to schools.
Okay,
So if we were to hire them, then we'd have to have them full-time here.
Sure.
Then it would be, they have a specialty like speech and language pathologist. Guess what?
Yeah.
They're gonna see kids 40% of the day.
Mhm.
And then you're paying the other 60% to.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of that is just the size of the school, right? Like how many kids actually need ancillary services.
Yeah. So, right, I'm just using that as an example that there are ways that we could probably look at some of that stuff, but our contract, the agreement we have with the district is multifaceted. It's mainly in the business area. It's mainly of keeping records and reporting, but it also deals with student information systems. It deals with special ed. It deals with a lot of things. Now, we do contract outside of the district just because we can't get them to come service our kids. Not service, excuse me, like evaluate our kids. We are waiting on 2 kids to have speech testing, and we put them through the process in August. to get them registered to be on the list, and they're still yet to be seen.
Really?
Yes. Four
And that's
elementary
through
students.
the district?
That's through the district. We're very fortunate because our previous SLP had students here. Right?
Mhm.
Her children went here. And so she would just go
She
in.
would make sure,
She would make sure while she was servicing, 10 minutes later, she's in a classroom making her classroom observations. She would write up the report, and everything would flow that way. Currently, we don't have that luxury.
Yeah, I don't want to poke the bear, if that's something that, but if you really feel like the money that we're giving them, we're getting sufficient resources, then I don't, you
We
don't really
are
need
to a large extent, we are. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, student information systems, the running of those weekly, daily reports and everything that they send up to PED, Santa Fe, to whatever whatever department they're sending them to. It's an enormous task that we just fall right into, and we submit it, we submit it. We don't even submit it, they just collect it and do it for us, and so
Okay.
we're handling that part of it.
Okay.
There's not a lot there is some things that we could probably renegotiate right now, and
Yeah.
you gotta look at it from 30,000 foot and then get down into the
Yeah, right,
needles.
right.
Try to find them in the haystack.
All right, is there anything else for the financial update?
Unless you have any questions.
Okay, if there's no more questions, then let's move on to the facilities update.
So we came back from break. Found out that our heater was running on an average of 90 degrees per day in a building that wasn't occupied. It had
Oh
reached
no.
106.
Wow.
And so that
The middle school building? The middle school
yeah,
building?
yeah, the one we just
Ugh.
dumped about $200,000 into.
Oh my gosh.
So we are in constant contact with them to please provide us with the opportunity to manage it ourselves. They're very slow to hand that off to us. So there may be some need for.
Do you ever feel like this is a Seinfeld episode?
Uh,
It's just like, you
I
have
think
a
more-
new,
I'm a little older, so it feels like a Twilight Zone.
okay.
And
You have
we,
another person who won't
we
believe you changed the temperature. This has been on for the new people. This has been,
this is 15
For-
years in the making.
yeah.
15.
And there was a place in, where is it run out of now? Is it Rhodes?
It's roads, but
It's in Albuquerque, right? Or
it's a
something.
different group. I don't know who it is. It's Daniel Fuentes, who's been working with us for the past probably 12 years. Is the one who set this new system in place that we paid for. And to this date, they have not relinquished total control. We would like to be able to have an iPad that we can just go boom, 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 and then tune it down. But we've got electricity.
What is the reason why they don't let you control it?
Because it's not 100% complete. They have some actuators in the facility that they're trying to replace. It's a nightmare. It's a nonsensical kind of dilemma. My problem is that we just put in to the tune of what, $100,000 a new chiller, and
Yeah.
it's so that thing runs at 106 without being on. But I mean, it's not pumping cold air out, and it's running constantly 24/7 for 10 days. They just put in new valves, they put in new pumps, the only thing we don't have that's in that whole entire system that's not new is the boiler, and the boiler was replaced 10 years ago. So it's still a relatively new boiler. But just the wear and tear on that unit had to be enormous, and the amount of electricity, so our electric bill, I'm sure, is going to be probably elevated, but there's no way to recoup those things. It's just like the increase in water. I don't know. I didn't read the report this morning. I was doing other things, but water was costing us $5,000 or $6,000 for a month. Those are the things that are digging into that
Yeah.
194,000. to the point where.
Yeah, that are completely out of our control.
That's what I'm saying. Those kind of things, when you add up that, the electricity, that's probably 10 of the 21,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knock that off, instead of 190, excuse me, instead of 217, it may be 207. So then you look at 207 to 194, right? Yeah. It's a little bit more palatable. But these are things that we can't control. We stopped watering it. I stopped it a month ago, 2 months ago. Yeah. I'm not going to do that with change. We were getting rain, so I felt good about it. You know, maybe
It's probably dormant anyway.
most of it is, and then we'll just, you know, it'll come back. That seeds itself at the beginning of spring. So, but those are things that we're trying to cut loose, with having an extensive overburdens on our current budget. So we'll see. Continuing on, so it was better today, right?
Yes.
So
Tolerable.
it was tolerable today.
But you guys came in Monday.
I came in Monday at 6:30 and just basically hit a wall. It was that hot. And I knew, I mean, because I do the breakfasts in the morning. So I literally got here. I got here early, 6:30, walked in, I was like, they are gonna flip. And they did. We brought actually class over here, upstairs classroom over here. Science, Jessica wouldn't teach over there, and I didn't blame her. So a lot of, and that just ruins the mood, it ruins the day, it ruins the focus, it ruins, the kids know it, they were fine over here. I mean, they did just fine, but you know, that's not what you plan for. So completed a couple reports for HB 33, and that's something that I think those are funds, and I think the last time I checked, we had about 126,000 in that fund. So we're gonna start projects. We're gonna start. I know there was some conversation about one big project. We may put some of that money to use, so it's not coming directly out of our SCG, and then keep a larger portion, maybe a 75-25 split, and then that way we can get some things done, because we still need, that building still needs a lot of work. I've got a bathroom I need to retrofit, waiting on Wade construction, Holloway construction, and to at least provide us a quote on what we can do. Both of them have experience in doing those type of things. They do it for the district. So talk to the district. The district's down 3 carpenters, so they won't come in and do it. And
So for our new board members, I just want to briefly, Joe, just explain the reason that we are the reason that we acquired the middle school building is there was a law passed that required public schools, which is what charter schools are, to be housed in a public or government building that met public school code. And you had to exhaust all options to look for any building that could possibly house your charter school before you were allowed to look at other options. So that is part of the reason that's the reason we are in that middle school building. It's also the reason after Joe and Mike and Sean and I looked at every single building in Roswell, we're able to acquire the elementary school building because we could not find a single building in Roswell that would meet public school code without costing us $1 million to upgrade it. So I just wanted to share that with new board members. That's the reason we're in that one building, but it's also the reason why we have a new building for the elementary school.
And so it's a good building with that one exception. I mean, it's been very good to us. It was, when we had 66 kids, it was ample space. But now that we're, even with the addition of the 130 students, you know, the usage, we've scheduled it so there's not an overbearance on any one particular part of that building. And we've kind of worked out a framework where we have a reduced amount of crossover as we can possibly have, so the kids aren't intermingling and stuff like that. I think for 5 minutes in the second lunch, the kids go out to PE, the 8th graders go out to PE, and they walk by the littles, and that's the only interaction they generally have all day. So yeah, we've always been in a publicly owned building. The city owns that building. We lease it from them, and this is a building that we lease because they are an agent. They have a PSA, government, whatever, contract that this mobile lease company out of New Jersey. We have an opportunity to work with them, but they work through the state and the state audit, Department of Finance, whatever, DFA. So we meet the requirements that way. I met with Barbara Vincente, the president of the foundation. We're going to start doing the library, and I don't know exactly how much they have accrued over time. I want to say it's probably in excess of $50,000, which will adequately provide us the infrastructure for shelving units, tables, chairs, stuff like that, and then computer checkout system and stuff like that. So that's ongoing.
So it'll be ready by next school year?
I'm sorry, what?
It will be ready by next school year?
Well, we should move pretty quickly.
So maybe at the end of
It
this.
depends on availability. That's the hardest thing we're looking. It's usually 6 to 8 weeks for delivery of product. It's better now than it was. It used to be 4 months. So we'll see what happens. We do have some furniture already that we want to put in there. And I know the district offered us some, but I would rather use the resources and buy new and make it look nice. And then they would take some of that money and create an outdoor shaded area, some sails and wind sails or sunshade, whatever it's called. Been a long bit. From that matter, and just create some outdoor space and maybe finish up the storybook trail. Get some reading stations, get some pergolas or something out there of that nature, and then that'll make that look nice. And we're looking at a water feature with some shrubbery. I'll leave that reference.
Can we afford water for the water feature?
There'll be no one.
It'll be I wish there was water in that feature.
That red glass, I mean, that blue glass
Blue
that the
glass
city
that
put
the
on the
city put in.
medians, we could just scoop some up.
There's none of it. It's all got washed
There
away.
you all go,
That's
yeah.
all it is.
It's probably in Dexter right now. We can
Yeah.
talk to our Dexter folks. But so that's the culmination of my facilities report. Yassine, we're at about 3 minutes. So my recommendation, Mehdi and I, we're still working with Zoom, is to shut this link down and restart it for another 40 minutes. Is that acceptable?
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's fine.
you make a motion for maybe a 5-minute recess, and then we can restart it, and then using the same link. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You can use the same link, and we'll start it maybe 3 minutes.
I was gonna move 3 minutes.
3 minutes. How about a minute? We'll put the pressure on Maddie, but we just got a warning that it was 10 minutes to cut off. So we'll go from there. If you so order.
I move that we take a 3-minute recess.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, I'll rejoin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Why does school do things like this? Is so ghetto. What are we doing here?
Is that off?
What are we doing?
I'm sorry, I don't cuss a lot, but it's me off.